Hey, what's going on guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm continuing to work on the 1 to 16 scale model. Today I will set the main surfaces. In the last episode I started to add clay. Okay, let's begin. We need to preheat the clay on the model. I use a heat gun. Of course it's better to use a low temperature oven, but I don't have one. Before we begin, that's not a sponsored video. I bought tools and materials myself. I use Shivantov style clay soft. Make sure that you set a proper temperature for your clay. Never overheat the clay. It must be soft and warm. If you overheat the clay, don't touch it. Wait before it cools down. When you add the clay, try not to damage the support structure. Every element must stay in its place and not be pushed away. As I already mentioned, I use tinfoil to protect the clay from the foam particles. I use the same clay many times, that's why I try to keep it clean. Don't forget that project is just a tiny clay sketch. I have a lot of videos with proper scale models on my channel. Someone asked me in a comment how I touch the camera with my hands covered in clay. That's how I do it. Highly important to add clay correctly. I try to avoid air bubbles and make a consistent blend. Okay, I finished adding the clay. Let's take a quick look at the result. Now we can prepare the template. I scanned my marker sketch and made an outline in Krita. I used a Wacom tablet for my digital sketching. I printed on a made photo paper. The paper thickness is 300 grams per square meter. I like templates that can keep their shape. I use extenders to work with templates. That's insanely comfortable to work with. Now I can put the template on extenders, and voila, I have access to all control points. Okay, let's put the sketch on the wall. We need to see our reference. By the way, you can make it without a precise sketch. Most of the time you will not have it, but good news, you can eyeball every line. I use that tool for tracing lines on the clay. Now I will cut extra clay to achieve a rough shape. When I remove the clay from one coordinate axis, it shifts by another axis. That's why again and again I use the template to put lines in their place. When you work with clay, you have to be patient. Even that tiny model took 2 days of my time. Of course I spent a lot of time changing camera placement, but anyway. And don't forget to make pit stops. Sometimes I take a break in the middle of the process. A fresh look the next day can save tons of time. At this stage of the project I always feel weird. It seems like the shape is not gonna work, but it just requires time. Just never give up. When you make a sketch, you have to understand how the surfaces will connect to each other. I made the extenders holders very weak and decided to use a 3D pen to fix that mistake. A 3D pen is a very useful tool. I added some clay to the top of the model. I shaved too much on the previous step. Here I use a loop tool with teeth. That tool helps to remove clay fast and precisely, and it keeps the direction of the cut. If you don't have that tool, you can make it. I made it from a cheap loop tool using a file for metal. But it's up to you. Don't ruin a good tool if you aren't sure you can modify it properly. You definitely can use a regular loop tool without teeth. That's just how I made it. Don't forget, if you want to be a clay modeler, be ready to make a lot of tools by yourself. Here you can see how I connect surfaces. Don't try to make smooth transition between surfaces at once. Keep it rough and blocky. Another important thing, try to keep a line on one surface, but keep in mind that's not a rule. I highly recommend watching professional alias modelers' videos. Even if you don't work with professional software for car design, you can watch it. It helps me a lot back in the day. Working with professional clay is very cool. Like every professional tool, it gives you a solid result. But can you use regular plasticine from your local art store? The answer is absolutely yes. If you don't have access to professional clay, don't give up and work with what you can find. That's a good idea for a new video. I will make a model using the cheapest clay I can find. In the next episode I will make some adjustments, and I will show you how to achieve symmetry. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one.